Hi, I'm Peggy at Headshots by Peggy, and I am so excited that Eileen Grubba is with us, and we are going to have such an amazing time today.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Peggy.
Eileen, I'm so excited. It's been a couple of years since you've been on the show.
Yeah. Wow, those years go by fast. Wow.
I know. So you have tons of exciting things going on in your life and your career. So where do you want to start? I mean,
wow.
I've seen you a lot. You've had a lot of really nice jobs lately. So that's exciting. I love turning on the TV going, I know her.
Thank you. Yeah, 2019, the second half of 2019 ended up being a really, really groundbreaking year for my career after many years of hard work. And that was so exciting, and everything was just about to really take off. And then, we chose to have a global pandemic. So that kind of stopped everything, literally like right when I was up for a series and about to go to Idyllwild Film Festival, where I was getting a WeSpark Award for my impact on the entertainment industry and a writing award for one of my comedy scripts, and like all these really wonderful things happening. And then we had pandemic, and I know everyone has gone through it, but not everyone waited 28 years for the industry to open up to them. And then as soon as it did, and so, so I've been in a sort of mad scramble to keep everything going in spite of the pandemic. So thank God for the online work we've been able to do, because I ended up getting to be in consideration for an Emmy for the work on New Amsterdam. And I didn't get the final nomination, but it was fun to even be at the level where I was in consideration for it. And the work was really personal to me, because I got to play a character that had basically line it up the same medical challenges I've had in my lifetime. The character has a spinal cord injury. She's a cancer survivor. She's facing another daunting surgery, and the medical industry caused her paralysis, which is my story. And has been my lifetime battle. They just squished my lifetime battle into like this one episode, when for me it spanned many years, decades. So it was really great to be able to play something so personal and to be on an NBC show medical series, which has been one of the battles of my career. Like, shockingly, you would think the industry and the medical shows would have opened up to someone like me many years earlier, because I've spent my entire life in hospitals and overcoming incredible odds to even still be here, from overcoming a spinal cord injury and many surgeries that followed, because you don't just overcome a spinal cord injury. You're still left with residual damage that stays with you the rest of your life, and you fight daily to build strength and recover what you can, and then you have to fight to keep that. And it's been a battle. And then to have cancer, probably from all the x-rays and radiation, and then the other challenges, which I won't even go into, but our family has a genetic cancer syndrome too. So like, it's just a lot. And so, to be able to put a lot of that into a role was such a great gift. But I feel like I could have been lighting up medical shows for many years through this industry, throughout this career. And I'm glad to know that a show like New Amsterdam has finally raised the bar so high that I don't think we'll go backwards. I just interviewed David Schulner, the executive producer showrunner of New Amsterdam, and Grace Wu from NBC. And the reason we brought them on to talk is because they are changing our industry. And he has been the first medical show, along with his casting director, David Caparelli-Otis in New York. The two of them have made sure that the roles are cast authentically. And when you watch the show, it's so much more deep and moving and emotionally impacting and passionate, because the blind people on the show are blind, the deaf people on the show are deaf, the people with disabilities have disabilities, and nobody's faking it for the most part. And in addition, he's been hiring people with disabilities in non-disabled roles, which is such a score. And the impact is huge. The show got a multi-year pickup, and Grace Wu at NBC is fighting to include the performers who've been left out through the years. She has been tracking us down and looking for projects for us, which is such a gift. She's opened up her doors to those of us who have been in the battle and fighting hard and are trained and ready. And thank God, NBC and CBS are just really leading the charge, and they've both committed to, these two networks have committed to auditioning actors with disabilities for every show now. And that is such a score. And that was the news I was about to tell you, is that I just did an interview for the Associated Press for this wonderful writer named Lynn Elber, and she, it's going to go out now. And as soon as I hang up on this with you, I'm going to post it everywhere as well. But of course, Associated Press just sent it out. But they interviewed me and the Ruderman Foundation and Kurt Yeager and a few of the other people really involved in this battle about how this is going to impact us. And I'm so excited, I almost want to cry, because when two major networks stand up and say this is happening, guess what? It's happening. It puts pressure on the rest of the industry. I have fought so hard to just be fairly recognized and fairly included and allowed to be auditioned for roles. I have fought so hard for so many years, not just for myself, but for everyone. And you know that because you were part of the events we were doing to include, the events that we were doing to help performers with disabilities get up to speed and trained as fast as they can to get ready, because we have a lot of new people coming into the industry with disabilities, and they need to get their skill levels high and ready, because you know, we need to be hired because we're good, not because we have disabilities. We need to be hired because we're great, and we just need equal opportunity and a fair playing ground, and a level playing ground. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah. I know. Well, so my viewers don't realize, literally, as we were starting the vlog, you got this email. So you're like, wait, give me a minute. So we started, you know, we waited just a minute before we started the video. So you still have that, like, you know, going on right now. I'm going to put a link to that in the description. We actually are filming this a few days before, you know, the people will see it. But I'm excited that I got to be here and watch your joy and excitement, because it excites me. So if you haven't figured out yet, not only are you an amazing, talented actor, but you are a huge advocate for performers with disabilities. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know you have a lot of great people that help you and support you, but you really like stand up loud and really make a difference. And so a lot of these things that are happening, you know, you had your hand in making them happen. So I know that you're just like on the verge of happy tears right now. And so thanks for sharing that with us.
Yes, and it, you know, it's an opportunity to say thank you to everyone who did stand with me in that battle. And you, Peggy, were one of those people. When we were doing these events free, completely free, we were asking everyone to donate their time, their skills, their services to a community of people who literally simply do not have the resources that the majority of actors have. And myself included, I have struggled for so many years and lived in poverty so many years, literally way below the poverty level, when I'm bringing skills to the game that, you know, are comparable to, you know, the top working people in the industry, as I've been told from all the people that train me that are Academy Award winners and Emmy winners. And yet I'm playing in this game that doesn't want to let somebody who has a quote unquote flaw or difference in. And so I have huge gratitude and emotional connection to everyone who stood up, and you offered to come to those events we shared for people with disabilities, and you even offered a free headshot session to anyone who showed up, which was such a gift. And you even did one for me, which I'm grateful for. And one of those pictures we still use. And
you know, I don't mean to interrupt, but because you brought that up, I have your pictures on my website, and the one with you, I mean, you just, we were both crying in your headshot session. I mean, you dug in some deep emotions. The one in the beanie and no makeup, the cancer survivor headshot, I get more people that go, oh my God, like they, you know, look at my website and they're like, oh my God, who is that? Oh my God. And I'm like, you know, we were both in tears you just brought so much emotion to the headshot session. And
I didn't know that was on your website. I'm going to go get it.
Yes.
Send me the picture, because I'll give it to my,
oh, you know, you have the pictures, but I'll resend them to you. But oh my God.
No,
yes,
I know I have the pictures, but I'm not sure I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I'll resend it to you, because I get more comments, and that was 2 years ago. I get more comments on that specific picture. They say, oh wow, but that one, it just really pops out. It's just so emotional. So yes, I love that.
Cancer survivor. So that's the thing I've been trying to get this industry to understand, is that there is a depth that comes with this life experience. There is a depth and a passion and a pain that is so immense. And on the other side of it, a joy that is incomparable. You know, the levels of emotion are so much higher in people that have this kind of life experience. And so I've never understood the exclusion of people with disabilities. I think that they should be, you know, push to the front of the gate, you know, clear the path, let them go, because I think most people with disabilities have such perspective on life and such wisdom to share with people. And I think everybody's going to need that wisdom eventually. And anyway, back to saying thank you for being a part of the movement and being supportive of this community that really needs that kind of support. And Paul Ford, amazing for pulling off everything he pulled off to make these events happen. And he just fascinated me every time. He'd be like, guess who's giving us a free room? Guess who's coming? And, you know, we got Monica Mickelson and some incredible casting directors to show up. And Monica runs Paramount Studios casting team, and also April Webster came with all of her wisdom. And we really had some wonderful people showing up to help train and get actors with disabilities up to speed. And it was interesting to see who showed up and who's willing to work hard to get what they want in the community. Now, I've never forgotten the people who showed up at each time, and those who are trying hard to be at the top of their game so they can work. I never forget those people. And Paul Ford did an amazing job. And thank you for contributing. And Cornell Thomas for showing up and inspiring everyone. And it's been a massive team effort to get us to this place. When I think back on my career, there were two people who welcomed me in this town in spite of my challenges. And that was Gail Williamson, who is now easily the top agent in our entire industry for people with disabilities, and Danny Murphy, who is a quadriplegic actor who was in all the Farrelly Brother movies. And it's interesting because even the disabled community has a lot of work to do about accepting other people. And especially in my earlier years, they didn't want to accept me because I am walking and I'm not in a chair. And Danny Murphy used to make jokes about it a lot. He's like, well, you know, they have to be nice to me because I'm in a chair, and they know they'll go to hell if they're mean to me. But you walk, so there's a question. And so he's so funny. He was so funny. But we advocated together for many years back then. And I'm so grateful to Gail and Danny for the support in those years, because I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. I felt like the quote unquote normal community of actors, the actors were fine to me, but the industry was like, no, she's got something wrong with her. And the disabled community was like, no, she's not one of us because she walks. And I didn't really fit in on either side. And that was a really painful place to be, especially because, you know, I was fighting for my life and I needed to make my health insurance, and I was losing jobs because of my leg brace and the way I walked. And losing those jobs meant losing health insurance. And that meant putting my life on the line. And I'll never forget those stressful years. And I've come through a lot. I've beat the cancer. I've not had a recurrence. I've had my leg rebuilt a few more times, and the last time was 2017. And I pray, I'm knocking on things that I never ever have to have another surgery. And I am on the upswing. I'm hiking mountains again, believe that or not. I put on this gauntless brace and I take 2 hiking poles, but I'm hiking like the hard mountains. And I'm so excited about it. And I'm in less pain now than I've ever been since, God, I don't even remember how many years I walked with bones hitting. And so now that's not happening. And I'm like, it's my time. It's my time. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to go. And now the industry is really opening up. And I'm just thanking God I'm still alive and thriving and ready to go. And when I get to where I have the kind of voice I intend to have, this world is going to change. The world is going to hear this story loud and clear about how we need to welcome the game changers and welcome the people who've gone into these battles earlier, because that's all it is. It's a matter of everyone is going to go through physical and mental battles, and it's just a matter of when in your life, and we cannot punish the people who came through those battles first, because they might very well be our world's game changers, and we cannot leave them out of the game. We can't do it.
Everybody has, a different journey, a different life story. And so to exclude any group from the industry just seems absurd to me, because the world is so big and the world is watching, and everybody wants to see somebody that they identify with. Yes. And so you would think that it makes logical sense for the industry to be as broad and as, inclusive as possible, because they're going to reach more people. But as you know, I'm seeing a lot more people with disabilities on TV, and I'm seeing a lot of them just being normal people, which is awesome. Instead of like, oh, you're the person in the wheelchair. No, you're just the attorney who happens to be in a wheelchair. And that's where we need to get to, is because we all live our life. We're all just humans, and we don't have to, just be the prop because you have a wheelchair or you have a limp or whatever, but you're a whole person. You do real whole things. And so I love that I'm starting to see that, a little bit more here and there. So it's inspiring.
The people rising up to power in our industry right now are far more open-minded than the old schoolers that are on their way out. Sorry, I hope I didn't just offend everybody, but the reality is that even now our kids today are being introduced to disability in a whole new way. And even just being able to turn on your TV and see these characters authentically portrayed and not pathetically portrayed, and not, oh no, they need to, kill themselves or some nonsense like that. When we see that regularly, we become accustomed to seeing it as a normal part of everyday life. And you are right. Every human being is equal. And I literally do not care what anyone thinks about that statement. I don't care who it is. I would bat this around with the Queen of England, the billionaires in the world. I would go head to head with them in 2 seconds and let them know that everyone is equal to them. Every human being is equal. No one has any control over where they're born into this world. Everyone's path is different. Everyone has different genetics. They're born in different countries, different religions. We have no right to judge someone based on their circumstances they were brought into. Like, if you want to judge people, look at only one thing, and that is what they're doing with the life they were given, what they're contributing to the world. Are they doing good or are they doing harm? If you want to judge people, like, that's the line to divide people with. Are you doing good or are you doing harm? And let's focus on doing more good. And if you're doing harm, why? And let's get you to the other side and have you make a positive impact in the world. If people realized that all humans are equal, what a different world we'd live in. Worldwide. We still have a lot of places in the world that think women are somehow below men. Okay, you can't have babies without women. So step up to the game and realize that women are a force of good and strength and power. And the smartest men realize that, and they align themselves in an equal way. And there's just so much ignorance that still has to be addressed. And you know, when the world realizes everyone's equal, everyone, you know, we have this dynamic everywhere where somebody thinks, oh, I got lucky, so I'm better than you. Well, no, you're not. You got lucky. And some people are like, well, I fought really hard, I earned all this myself. Well, you know what? Yes, you did. And usually the people who earned it all themselves don't look down on other people because they remember how hard they fought to get where they are. And so anybody who's born into it, it's really ignorant to look down on anyone else. To me, it's like, I don't care if you clean my toilets or you're the Queen of England. You're a human being, and we're all equal. We're all equal. And of course, we're going to push away who harms us, and we're going to pull in who makes us feel safe and helps us bring out the best. But you know, it's people. We're all people. It's like taking a truckload of puppies and deciding which one's better than the other. They're all puppies. Who cares? You know, and we're people. We're all people. Who cares? We're just all these little kids coming out into the world, and we all have big dreams, and we all want to live them no matter what our circumstances are. You know, if you're in a wheelchair or you're in a different country or anything, you still have dreams. It just, none of it matters. You still want to do something with your life. And who are we to ever judge that? You know?
Absolutely. So you guys see why I love her? Like, do you see why I love her? How can you not love her? And it's funny because you and I have that, you know, I consider you a friend, but you know, we may not talk for 2 years, but the second I see you, I'm like, yay.
Hey, I know, I feel the same way about you. And I just love your smile and your energy and your positive life force that you put out into the world. I love seeing people bring everything they've got to the game and use it to elevate the people around them. I love seeing that. So you do
And
that.
You are one of those people that do so much of that. So thank you for all that you've done for the community, for actors in general. So you're also coaching, and now via Zoom is kind of a thing that you're doing a lot of, huh? How's that coming about?
Well, I still focus primarily on what I just spent almost 30 years building. So first comes my auditions and my work. And then I do coach some people, and I'm starting to do more of that. But I've been doing a ton of public speaking, and now it's becoming more of a business for me instead of me giving away all my time and energy, which I've done for many, many years, and I was happy to do. But now we're at a point where we're like, you know what? I have value too, and I need to be paid for the work I do. So, so that shift has happened, and that train has taken off. And but I'm still primarily focused on my acting work because I've worked hard and I've trained hard for many, many years. But also, I have been writing and producing films, and we are recording this today, and it won't be launched for a little while. So I can give you some news that I'm not allowed to tell anyone. So you are now sworn to secrecy until this airs. But I have 2 films that are out in the festival circuit right now. And I just got the word that they are being nominated for 17 awards collectively.
Yay! That's awesome.
I just heard from one festival director and a really well-respected, amazing festival, which is Idyllwild. And both of my films made it into Idyllwild, and one in the featurette category and one in the short film category. And both of them are disability inclusion films. Both of them had the majority of the cast and crew are people living with disabilities, all different kinds, from writers to editors to cinematography to our lighting guys. We mentored young Brock Wademan, who's a child actor who is now 20-year-old who wants to direct and produce. So we mentored him on the directing on one of them. The films are Dark Hearts and Dead End Drive. And Stephen Savage, the festival director, told me that they were blown away by our films this year. And and so I just got the news that we're up for Best Film in both categories. We're up for Best Actor, Best Actress in both films. We're up for Best Screenplays and just cinematography, directing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to tell my teams, and I can't tell them until next week either. And so I can't even believe I told you I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but you're not launching this. So I've been writing a lot, and I love writing, and it's also a challenge to get that stuff out there and made. But we've been making these films, and we've had this incredible executive producer named David Zimmerman, and he's not the David Zimmerman that most people in the community know, who runs the school that trains performers with disabilities. Different David Zimmerman, who's a playwright that I knew from the Actors Studio, and he's been so supportive of the work and really invested in creating opportunity and helping people with disabilities gain experience, credits, visibility, and all that. So that's what we've been doing with these films. And I'm not sure if you knew Carmen Argenziano before he passed. I'm sure I told you about him, but he was the closest person, my best friend, for many years at the Actors Studio, and cancer struck. He had an unlucky and unfair situation with it, and we lost him. But when he thought he might be going, he said, I want you to promise me you're going to carry on, like make these films. And he said, please don't let anybody donate flowers or any of that nonsense. Tell them to put the money towards make a fund, have them put it towards that fund, and then make more of your films. So we funded 2 of the films coming out of the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge that year, and we've made a few films since, and these 2 are both dedicated to him in the end. And
oh, that's awesome.
Getting into the festivals, and you know, I still have a video where he says, Eileen, I want you to take over the town, take it over. And so I'm like, I'm on my way, I'm doing it. I promised I would do it in honor of him, for him, because he was the greatest advocate for my work and support through the years. Through a lot of the challenges, he was one of the ones who kept me from leaving this industry in some of the worst years. And he just said, you cannot leave this industry. You have to keep going. And, you know, I have 20 projects, from movies to TV series to comedies, dramas. I have 20 projects on my hands that are just my creations. And then I have the ones I'm collecting from all the people in the community that are bringing their projects to me. And I am determined to not only be a series regular, but then, you know, when you're working on a show, you have all this downtime in a trailer. And during that downtime, I intend to be writing on another show. And I intend to be showrunner in a few years, where I get to say who gets hired. And I can't wait to be the one who looks at the people coming in and saying, how long have you worked for this? And how hard have you worked for this? Because I really have a vested interest in finding the people who've worked the hardest and have somehow fallen through the cracks and not gotten a fair shot. Whoever they are, that they've committed, they've worked hard, and for some reason, or whatever reason, they've fallen through the cracks. And I want to find them and elevate them and put them in my projects. I write roles for these people. I wish they knew. I wish some of the people who have been jealous or resentful of some of the breaks I've gotten, 1, saw how hard I worked to get them, but 2, knew that I was writing projects that include them. You know, so there's no room for anyone in our community to be jealous of the success of another, because, you know, those of us who've been in the game the longest have fought so hard. We have worked so hard and relentlessly clearing these paths. And I'm determined to run shows and to hire people that deserve breaks, and create some really gut-wrenching, deep, emotional, strong and funny characters, stories, and I'm so excited about so many of them, and just getting these awards happening on the smaller films that I'm making and the low budget ones tells me that we're heading in the right direction. And it's 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 just exciting. It's just exciting to be able to put your life experience into this work and see how it affects people, how it moves people, you know.
I love this. I'm so excited, and I got to hear first.
You got a lot of news today. You got a lot of secrets.
I know. I've like walked into a good day with you today. This is so great. So, how can people get involved? Either A, hey, I'm a performer with a disability, and I didn't even know there was people out there that would help me. Or B, hey, I've got some money and I believe in you, and I want to help fund this. How can they get involved?
Okay, so here are the many ways to get involved. Hey, if you've got money and you want to fund some of this and you want to see great projects, you know how to find me. I'm on IMDb. I have a website, eileengrubba.com, has contact info for my new management company, and brand new. Like, I have a new guy repping me who only reps one other person, and she's a Oscar-winning big old star, and he just started working with me too. And
more new news.
And you know, I made him. I forced him to take me on, but so, but at least he's gonna, you know, be a gatekeeper for me until I get to where I need to be. And so you can reach out to me through my website, or go on IMDb, find my agent, JD Sobel. Or you can find me. It's not hard. So if you want to fund some of these, or produce some of these, or see the projects we have ready and out there, find me. And if you are a performer with a disability, we have a Facebook page called Trained Actors with Real Disabilities. We started it almost a decade ago. I have a wonderful, wonderful advocate and PR person named Vince Daskell, who has been running the page for me since things got so busy. He's been running it for years. He's amazing. He's inclusive. He does live with a disability, and he shares that. He's been advocating for us all his life, not in our industry, but outside of our industry, and politically in every other way. So this guy is a game changer, and he decided to pick up the torch and run with promoting the work of performers with disabilities so that we have more visibility. So you can get on that page and message Vince, and he'll give you a few tips. But here's the biggest thing I have to say. It does not matter if you have a disability. It doesn't matter. We have opened up the gates. Your path is clearer than it's ever been. What matters is that you do not use that as an excuse to not do your work. You've got to work harder than everybody else, and that is a fact. You've got to be better than everyone else, because our industry is so massive now, global, and believe me that the people working have been fighting and working hard, and they have advantages you can't even imagine, some of them. And so some of them have the income, the capacity to be coached for every single role, every single audition professionally done. I have seen actresses pull in entire crews to shoot auditions because they can afford to do that, or somebody's funding it for them. So never underestimate what you are up against out there. Find a way to be great at what you do. And if you can't afford it, find a community of people who will read with you online, work on things constantly. Don't just wait for an audition to come in. Be working, training constantly. I can think back on many, many years at the Actors Studio where I logged easily 40 to 60 hours rehearsing a week on various projects, in addition to working on my auditions, in addition to doing a job to pay my bills. You know, I worked in casting, I've been producing, writing, working for celebrities. I have worked my butt off with very few ever nights or weekends or times off. I missed holidays for many, many years because I didn't want to leave town in case during the holiday I'd finally get an opportunity since everyone else was out of town. You know, so believe me, I have gotten out of the hospital still half jacked on anesthesia, called my friends and said, can you please meet me where I'm staying? Bring lamps and a camera because I got to tape an audition. That has happened. I am never a person who makes an excuse why I can't get it done. You know, it gets done. And so I stress this so that people with disabilities who want to get in this game don't just show up and say, but I have a disability, so give me a lead role. Please don't do that disservice to the entire community who has fought hard. Because if you get that job because you just happen to be cuter or have a specific disability that fits, and then you fail in that job, you're taking the whole community down who have fought and fought and fought to be seen as valid equals in this industry. So be good at what you do for your sake and for the sake of the entire community, because when you are great and you work, you elevate us all. But if you take those shortcuts, you're hurting us all. There were many times through the years when we were just starting to get traction and bad actors came in, took roles away from us, and then they failed, and then the whole thing got cut and it riveted through the industry. And then they would say, well, you know, actors with disabilities aren't talented. You know how many times I heard that? Actors with disabilities aren't talented. Really? Not one? None of them. Seriously? And it's why we started the page and named it Trained Actors with Real Disabilities, because for many years they said, well, there are no trained actors with real disabilities. And I'm like, yes, there are. Here they are. Let me give you a whole page of them. And we started recruiting all the trained actors with real disabilities so that we could present them, promote them to the industry when they come to us. So I know that's a long way of saying, be good at what you do, go train, be ready. Be trained before you go out into the game. Please do that for your sake, for our sakes, and then go out and just tear apart the town. We're all waiting for you to show up and be wonderful.
That's awesome. And that holds true for everyone, but especially actors with disabilities, because they're right on the cusp of finally getting some recognition and finally getting some equality, of finally getting the chance. Yeah. So it's so important to not just, you know, blow it off as an, oh, well, you know, well, good, or, you know, you have to dedicate and really work at it. And I know I have seen so many amazing, because I've had so much time to watch TV last year. I've seen some really amazing actors with disabilities, and I suck. I'm gonna have to put her name here because I don't know what it is. And I don't even know the name of the show, but she's a blind teenager, like young teenager, phenomenal actor, phenomenal. And we're like, where did she come from? Like, she needs to be working all the time. You know, the fact that she's blind was kind of a, you know, yeah, she's blind, but look at her acting was, you know, it's just, and you see that more and more because the trained actors that are really finally, you know, getting a chance, they're finally getting a chance to say, hi, I've always been this good. Like, I can't help that you've never given me an audition, but finally you see me. So,
you know what, I cried when Viola Davis got up to accept her Oscar, and I'm not going to be able to say it as well as she said it because I don't remember all the words, but basically she said, this was never a lack of talent. This was a lack of opportunity. It was never about a lack of skills. And when she said that, I literally, tears just instantaneously rolled down my face, because for many years I was training, working so hard at the Actors Studio, and I had Academy Award winners telling me, do not give up, you know, and telling me where I stood in their estimation among the greats of the industry, and Carmen and Martin Landau and so many of them. And I was like, but they won't even let me audition. Well, what good is it to be this skilled if it's like having a finely tuned Ferrari and keeping it in a dark garage with a cover over it? What good is that car? You can't do anything with it. So, you know, I used to be so frustrated. And so when I heard her say that, I just, and I try not to think backwards because it makes me really sad. It makes me sad to think of the years I missed and my youthful years when you're most pretty and most flawless and all those things. And I feel sad that I missed all those years and that I had to struggle this much. But I also am thrilled, like I told you before, that I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still thriving, and hope that the break, the big break that makes life easier is right now, and then we get to make, you know, make up for all those lost years, and hopefully create opportunity for all the people coming up behind us, you know, because that is a big passion of mine. I've said it throughout the years. A lot of people ask me what drives me, and there are so many things that drive me, but the one that sticks with me the most is that I never want another kid to come through the medical challenges like the ones I had and then show up thinking, yay, I survived, only to have people beat you up, pick on you, make fun of you, literally knock you down because you just learned how to walk again, make fun of you in public, keep you out of work, keep you out of the career you want because they're so afraid of your difference. If they had one inkling of what you'd been through to show up with that smile on your face, they would appreciate that smile, you know, and they would respect what you came through. I talked about this when Forbes did that interview, and she ended the article by saying, what I said to her is, maybe if they knew what I'd been through, instead of looking at me like I'm a freak, they would cheer when I walked in a room, and they should. And I'm never going to settle for less than that, because I know what it took to be standing here today. And even yesterday, I hesitate to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it. Yesterday, even though it was supposed to be pouring, I strapped on my brace and my hiking boots, and I hit the mountain with a friend of mine, and my leg was having a bad day, which it still does sometimes. And these hiking trails are not easy. And sometimes you have to take a big step, and which means put a lot of weight on the bad ankle to get to the next step. And my leg dropped me. I collapsed on the thing, and I was like, oh, and he goes, well, maybe we should go back and do this another day. I was like, oh no, we're going to the top of that mountain. I don't care how much it hurts. And I kept fighting through that pain. And then, you know, you get past the worst part of the hill and you're still going, and somehow we made it to the top, and the victory at the top, you know, is like, wow, it's like I have to keep retraining my brain that pain will not be my boss. I will be my boss. And so I never want to make anybody think, oh, it's so easy to come through these things, because it's not. But honor people's journey, because you have no idea what they've been through. Like you talked about that picture with the cancer patient, and you know, that was fresh when we did that. You know, that was fresh. And I don't remember if we did that before I had my last round of surgeries or after. Was I walking at the time?
You were walking. I think you had just had surgeries. Okay. I think it was like, yeah.
So it was still fresh. And anyway, if they knew what we came through, they wouldn't be so resistant. They would be like, okay, I can learn something from this, because everybody reaches out to us when their battles hit. They do. Yeah. And they ask how you got through it or how you survived it, even losses. I just was part of a book that is now on Amazon called The Missing Piece, Coping with Grief. And it's 8 authors. It was published by Kate Batten, a publisher in the UK. And 8 authors share their stories about grief and loss and how they got through that. And I was one of the authors, and it became a bestseller in the US and Canada, like within the first 24 hours or something. And and I have to check in and see how it's doing now. But like all those things we've been through that we can share with everyone are tools of how we got through these things. And, you know, some people have a big life medical health challenge, and then other people have 100 big life medical challenges, and other people have huge life threatening medical challenges, plus their parents died young, plus they don't have support, plus they lost their health insurance, plus, you never know someone's going through, and you cannot get in the way of their fair opportunity to work, because it might be their lifeline. And they might be the game changer that you've been waiting for. You know, sometimes you put out your hand and help someone over that next step up the mountain, and you never know if that's the person who's going to catch you when you fall, or they're going to open up that door for you because they've never forgotten what you did for them. So life is such a team effort, and when we wrap our heads around that, and you know, when your battle's harder, I fight with you, and when my battle's harder, you fight with me, and we all help each other get to where we're trying to go, and laugh along the way. Keep laughing along the way. So it's a very emotional conversation for me, and you hit me on a very emotional day, because all these amazing things have happened in the last 24 hours, and I feel like
I guess this was definitely the universe put us together today. So I'm really glad. It was, you've been on my mind for a long time, and then something else happened, and I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out to you because you know everything. You'll fix this. So I reached out to you, and I was like, hey, you should be on the vlog, you know, be on the video with me. It's been a while. So I'm glad this happened. I am so glad that you opened your heart to us and shared so much. This was amazing. And please, please, please take the time to go down to the description, go check her out, I'll even have a description or a link to the book. I'll have, you know, everything down there. So go spend some time seeing all the amazing things that she's done. Check out her IMDb, because you're going to be like impressed. You know, she is very, very, very talented, and I'm always excited to see you on TV, and thank you again for coming. So everyone, please make sure that you share this all over the place. Leave us tons of comments. Most importantly, have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Peggy. You look fantastic. You're just shining.
Text or call today so that we can get you effective headshots that you can use as part of your marketing strategy. Headshots by Peggy. How can I help you?